Performing arts for Avenue Q. Full frontal nudity.
One for lamb chop, one for you.
Fantastic!
But as an actor, it's also interesting because, you know, the audiences will sometimes say, we don't know whether to look at you or look at the puppet.
Hello, this is Lonnie Stark of Stark Silver Creek, and I'm here again at the San Jose Center for the Performing Arts for Avenue Q. It's about a guy who goes to New York with very little money and trying to make it. And
he's full frontal puppet nudity, by the way.
You can't get over that, can you, Clint?
That's my favorite part.
This is all about coming of age in New York City, poor but with friends and strange characters. Sort of like Sesame Street, but for grown-ups.
Well, it's what would happen if they put Sesame Street on HBO.
Oh, you brought lamb chop! Yes.
It sucks to be me, sucker.
Awesome.
One for lamb chop, one for you.
Hey, lamb chops, what are you doing here? I'm trying to look for work. My other show just bombed, so now I have to come and see if they'll hire me. And you thought that going
that was brilliant.
Enough amateur play. Let's go in and check out how the pros do it. So come on.
Sorry.
Everyone's very excited. Actually, Clint, your parents saw the show.
They saw it in
already.
Toronto and they loved it. They said it was fantastic.
It would be better with me.
Well, that's hilarious.
Clint, you got to turn down the cameras. 15-minute intermission. You know what one of the surprises was, Clint? It was the plasma TVs.
Oh,
I didn't know
the cartoon vignettes?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they added a nice transition to the rest of the little skits.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I had definitely a spring awakening moment.
Yes, it definitely did, yes.
Well, what's interesting is do you look at the puppets or the people, the puppeteers, when you're watching?
I look at both, and I thought one was synchronization, so they'll sometimes go like, if the puppet
here, let's
like
get a demonstration.
Yeah,
This is what
okay. So, if you ever want to get into it, this is what I observed with the pros. So if they go like, wee, right? It'd be like, wee, like that. So they do this sort of synchronization.
I mean, the person does it as well as the puppet.
Yes, yes. Just think of the first part of the show.
It's fantastic, you know?
It's fantastic.
Especially with
What's your favorite part?
Gary Coleman. And what you talking about with us? You know.
Is this your first show? Or
My first show, yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I've been seeing a lot of shows. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, The Lion King, Riverdance, Monty Python's Family. Fantastic.
There you have it.
Is that another plant? That's like the ACT.
I know. I swear, there's a little bit of we seem to get quite enthusiastic.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you were growing up in Toronto, did you work at a Japanese restaurant?
Did I work at Japanese? No, I haven't. Although when the Japanese woman first came in, I thought Breakfast at Tiffany's. Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Who plays
the other,
that?
who's that guy that was up in the, you know?
Oh yeah, he's a famous Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney played that role, and I thought about that. And
That
then
was a racist role.
Yeah, was he Japanese or Chinese?
I don't know, but
See,
it was
only
pretty...
I'm allowed to talk about that,
Right. Oh,
right?
I
Because
see.
Art, as always, will tell you more about what we think on StarkSilverCreek.com, and also join us for the after party at Martin's. So, see you. How did the rest sound?
Well, definitely.
Really,
But you know what I liked about it is they didn't overemphasize the taboo moments.
Yeah, and overall,
they didn't abuse.
And overall, it was still very positive humor.
Right.
And then, you know, what feel-good message is not cliche, ultimately. So the after party for Avenue Q is going to be at Poshy Place for a bunch of characters that are living in one of the worst neighborhoods in New York. They're being taken to Morton's. after party of Avenue Q, and I'm here with Carrie.
Yes.
Who plays one of the Bad Idea Bears.
Right.
Okay. Now, for those who have not seen Avenue Q, what's a Bad Idea Bear?
The Bad Idea Bears are a little duo, girl and boy, that come and try to help Princeton out. They think that they're his friends. They are his friends. But every single idea that they come up with is obviously a terrible idea. They tell him to go buy beer, and they tell him to watch Judge Judy when he's depressed, and all kinds of ridiculous things. But they're trying so hard, and they think that their ideas are great. So.
And just so folks know, Princeton is the main character who has come to Avenue Q with a BA and is trying to find his way around all the taboo issues, right?
Right.
What are some of the challenges with working with the puppets versus if you were just acting with, without such a sort of furry creature beside you?
For me, I had never even literally picked up a puppet until I got this job. And so just working with puppets in general is very new for me. It's a challenge, and it's really fun because, I'm still working on it. It's still a process. So my show, I'm still working on something, in every show, and every puppet is different in the show. And I carry almost every single puppet in the show at some point throughout the course of the evening. And so, being that each puppet is different, it has its own set of challenges. Some of them have 2 rods that you hold and maneuver, and some of them have 1, and their mouths even function differently. So for me, but as an actor, it's also interesting because, the audiences will sometimes say, we don't know whether to look at you or look at the puppet. And so it's fun, but you kind of have to make sure that the intention that you have as an actor is similar to what the is what the puppet is trying to convey.
Okay, I've heard a lot of stories from different folks about this whole process. What did you have to do for a role like this in terms of being on the casting call for it?
Well, my first 2 auditions, I would say my initial audition and my first callback, there were no puppets.
Really? So what did they have you do?
Well, initially we just came in and sang our own song, and then when I got called back, I started doing some scene work and some music from the show. And then I think it was my 3rd callback that all of a sudden they pulled out a puppet from, behind the audition table and just had me do a few things with it. And then finally we, right before our final callback, which we had to use the puppets, we went to a weekend-long puppet camp for several hours on a Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and really learned some of the basics. There's a part in The Internet is for Porn where myself and the gentleman who plays Trekkie Monster, we do a take to the audience where we look at the audience, and it's that usually really gets to me. It usually kind of cracks me up. So
thank you for your time, Carrie, and great show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Here at the after party of Avenue Q, chatting here with Carrie, who plays one of the Bad Bears, and almost a role in every single other puppet as well. So thank you. Funny. Now I know who to blame when I come up with a bad idea.
See you, Sal.
See you, Sal. That's Sal?
I feel like I've been
crap!
part of your life.
Are you gonna start?
Raining.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's really coming down here.
Let's
raining.
start
There's actually
running
weather in
as
California.
fast as we can. Probably a bad idea, bear idea, but let's start going. We're at the Avenue Q. Yeah. What did you guys think? I thought it was great. Awesome. I feel like right now, I feel like Anderson Cooper. We're like in the middle of a rainy day.
Are you trying to compare this to Iraq?
No, not Iraq. How sometimes you see Anderson Cooper and he's like out there and there's sand blowing and he looks like hardcore journalism, right?
Yes.
So this is our version of hardcore journalism.
You're not afraid to be who you want to. You're not afraid.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. There's no lamps.
I don't know. This is gonna make it on Broadway. Is this the right way, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, it isn't. It's this way.
Well, good thing I asked.
This way.